She McWetch, thank you very much for buying my rainbow porcupine quilt kit. I hope these videos come in handy and all the tips are very useful. Thank you guys. Alright guys, now that we're inside, we're going to start off with, you're going to get a bowl of water and you're going to put all of your porcupine quills in there. So the reason why we do this is so that when we go to bend our quills, we don't break them. So to speed up the process, if you already, per se, like I do, already have a design ready, I would use either warm or hot water so that the quills get softer faster. So right now, my quills have been sitting in water for just a few minutes because I knew I had to explain to you guys a few steps. So you're going to first start off by soaking your quills. Then you're going to get your piece of birch bark and you're going to grab a blank piece of paper, and I like to just outline mine. On my piece of paper, I just draw a circle around it and then I take it off, and then that way I know about approximately, let's see here, I have approximately so much space to work with. Maybe I'll make a couple of these, right? My pin. So that way I know how much space I have to work with. So with earrings, you only have so much space. These ones, I decided that I was going to do Jack, the Pumpkin King. And so, but normally starting out, you're going to want to do something a little bit more simpler, a little bit more traditional, especially with earrings. I see a new style that's come out where there's like pieces of grass, right? Or maybe there is, what are those called? Cattails. So get some cattails, and maybe I'll do like some flowers, and maybe I'll do a teeny tiny bee that's got black and a yellow and a black, right? Do a little, and that's my earring. So what you can do, there are a few small other tips and tricks that you can go run and do. So we have what is called art tracing paper. And see, like I said, I trace out my bolo ties. That way I have a little bit of like an outline of what I want to do. And then what you do with tracing paper is you draw on your design, and then the part that you drew on, you flip it over and then take your pencil and draw it again, and then your design will be on your bark. There's also a black tracing paper where you have a design and then you lay that paper on it and then another paper on that, and you can draw right on that. But I did not grab a piece of that to show you at the moment. All of those can be found at Hobby Lobby or on Amazon. Totally unnecessary. You can just use a pencil and try to get it as close as you're possible if you're doing earrings. Or you can draw directly on the bark like I do. A lot of people don't like to do that. I've seen a lot of people that use the edge of their quill, and their awl, and they will trace it like this so that it's more of a scratched indentation. I cover up all my lines with my quills, so I don't really mind drawing it directly on there. It's just what I found to be the most easiest for myself. All right, so now the meat and potatoes. As you can see here, I've got a little bit more of an intricate piece going of a T-Rex. So, but I'm going to start off with my earring to start with something very simple. Let's see, before we start, we're going to go through the name of all your tools real quick. All right, we have your awl, and this is what you're going to use to drill little holes by spinning it back and forth on the bark. Then we have our tweezers, which you're going to use in just a moment. I'll show you how to pull your quills out through the other side. And then your mighty little tiny scissors. All right, let's start. So I'm going to start a starting point and an ending point. I like his elbow. That looks really easy to me. So I'm going to use my awl back and forth while applying pressure. Then you got one hole, and I want his arm to go all the way to here. So I'm going to poke a hole right over here. Pull it out. I'm going to see if any of my quills are ready. Find one that I like to look about his arm. That one looks good. Okay. So now that we have that, we're going to use the tiny little tip you see there. We're going to put it through the first hole. When you flip over your birch bark, you'll be able to see your quill tip. So you're going to pull that through just a little bit, and then you can see where you're going. You're going to bend. Oh yeah, my quills need to soak for a little bit longer. Did you hear that cracking? We need to soak it. My thinner quills will probably be good to go, but these thick guys needed a little bit more soaking. All right, and then you put your other end through the other side, and as you see, now you have two little things. I have noticed that a lot of people have been taught to leave all their quills in there. And the reason why they say to do this is for when you go to do your next one through the same hole, so that I can do his arm going this way, that you want to be able to bend that over so that you don't stab your quill through that and split that, and then your quill will fall out. However, I still like to trim mine because I'm extremely klutzy. And the reason why I always have a plate is because usually I'm not in my studio. I tend to bring everything from my studio into my house. And which means that I try to keep the quills from, I have 6 kids, 2 dogs, and a cat, from stabbing any of us. So I use a plate to try to keep my quill tips all together. But like I said, the reason why I got to trim mine right away. But I found that you can still move your quill over a little bit with your finger when you go through the same hole. So that is, I'll give you another one right here. This one's a little bit thinner. See, so I'm having a hard time getting through that hole. So what I'm going to do is push that one side back and use my awl. Make a little bit more space in that same hole. Okay, also, now that we're talking about it, let's look at this quill real quick. There are two ends. Can you see them? All right, there's the tail end and the top end. This is the part that's in the porcupine, and this is the part that none of us want in us. Either side is going to hurt really bad. I tend to use the part that was in the porcupine first, just because it's not as stable. Oops. It is not as stable as the other one. See? That, and if I want to use this quill more than one time, I don't like how that quill looks. So I'm going to go past where it doesn't look good to me anymore. There we go. That way you can get 2 quills through one hole. But the reason why I like to keep it, usually the end of that quill was kind of funky and I didn't like how it looked, but if I could have kept using it, I would have put it through here, and then I would have still had a nice piece of quill left, and I would have trimmed it and used this piece of quill again. So that's another reason why I trim mine right away, is because I like to get as much use out of one quill as I possibly can. Yeah, my quills need to soak a little bit longer. Still a little crunchy. Okay, so there we go. We now have his arms in there. Now we just keep on going. So because I had multiples, I don't always want to end just on my edge of where I drew, because I'm going to put another quill over top of both of those to hide where that one was. So that is the beginning of how you get to a little bit farther point. Okay, as you see here, I have all sorts of different colors and things going. At first, I don't recommend going this hard at all. I would go with a simple outline. And because you have rainbow kits, you don't have a lot of the same two colors. So I suggest making something that's rainbow. Like maybe you do a bear and you outline him. Oh, look at, I gotta pull that quill out and put a new one in. So I do a bear, and then with the most amount of quills that I had, I would do the outline. And then because it's a rainbow, I would start with the same color that I outlined my bear with. I would start there and then rainbow it all the way through. As you start using your kit and as you start to quill, you'll start to understand a little bit more in-depth things like, all right, this is not enough quills if I have OCD and I need every single one of my quills to be the same length and the same width. You know, you can go as in-depth as you want or leave it as simple as you want. One of my new favorite things, though, is the patterns like these. So this is only going to take you a couple quills. So you got grass here. So that's one quill. Maybe you do one here and one here, and then you got a couple quills here. I suggest, I can't stress this enough, to go simple at first. Once you get your first one done, then you holler at me and then we can exchange birch bark and all sorts of other things. So now that we got to this point, we have a little bit more in depth of what we do next. So with all of our other ones, you have, okay, let's say this one is completely done. I'm done being quilled, but I don't currently have one that's in this middle state. So let's pretend this is completely done. On the back, you have all these quills. So here is my trade secret. As you can see, these old ones that I have, they're curling, right? They curl over time because it used to be on a tree and its natural shape is to want to hold its own shape. So what we do is we take a front piece, right? So that they don't curl, we put two pieces, you see how they curl towards each other, and we push them down flat. That one's not going to work for that specific one, but you push them down flat so that you can take it from this and you put your two pieces together and you smush them down, and then you drill all your holes, and then you sew them together. My trade secret is the thing that keeps mine so flat, because if you just sew the edges, over time it will pucker in the middle, and I don't like that. So here it is. I'm gonna tell everybody my secrets. I use hot glue. So yes, I take my front piece and my back piece and I put hot glue first around all of these. This is a step you don't have to do and a step that nobody else does. It is just a personal preference thing so that my medallions last the test of time, right? So I put a little bit of hot glue around all these so that when I go to push it down, I don't lose all my quills first, right? So let's say this didn't have this front piece, right? They were just two pieces. I would push them together and then lay it down because I have hot glue on it, and then I put something heavy on it and I press it really, really hard and flat for a while, and then it will turn into this hard sandwich. Then after that, that's when I drill my holes and I put my edging on, and then after that you can put your beads on, or however else you see fit to finish your medallion, earrings, or bolo tie. This is just the beginning. So I hope that that was extremely helpful and that you got all the information that you were looking for. If you have any questions, I'm always a message away. I hope that you guys really enjoyed this. I would really appreciate all feedback. I'm brand new to teaching via video. So I guess I'm going to keep it short. Chi Miigwech for doing this, seeking out this knowledge and going for it. And I hope that I can bring you more knowledge in different ways. If you want to go more in depth about harvesting and dyeing quills and all of that, I believe that either I will be offering some, looking towards making more videos possibly. And also, I just wanted to say thank you again, Chi Miigwech, for purchasing my Porcupine quill kit. I hope you guys found all the information informative and to the point. I love to talk, and I very much appreciate you giving me this opportunity. One thing I didn't share with you in the beginning is something that I share with all of my classes, and it's something that I think is important to share with you. All right, so here it goes. To find value in the things that we do, I find it important to talk about decolonization. So what is decolonization and what does that mean to me? It took me a long time to think about it before I came to a conclusion. Decolonization is the reconnection to the land, the water, to the community, to family, to self, to the living universe. So what does colonization mean to me? It means the severance of connection to everything. And from there, I'll give you an example about how our perspectives shape what we think is valuable. So you go into the woods, and we're going to talk about making a birch bark basket, right? Let me rewind real quick. You go to the dollar store first, right? You buy a basket. It was $1. You bring it home. You throw it on the counter. You think maybe I'll put little cute candies or maybe some potpourri or something in it. And let's say your little one runs past, swipes it off the counter, is running around eating all the candies, sprinkling potpourri or whatever around. And then the dog finds it where the baby left it. And now the dog's tearing it up, and you're thinking, oh man, well that sucks, but no big deal. It was just $1. All right. Well, no big deal. It was just $1. Now let's say you go out to the woods and you're thinking you're going to make a birch bark basket. And you go out and you lay down your tobacco and you tell the birch trees what you're going to do, and you ask for them to point you in the right direction. So you look around and you're checking trees, but you still don't have a basket. Because every tree you check, you're looking for characteristics. You're looking to establish a relationship, but you still don't have a basket. Finally, you find the right tree. It's the right thickness. The eyes aren't too deep. It's the one. So you lay down your tobacco, you peel your tree, and you still don't have a basket. While peeling your tree, you learned that how the tree likes to move, what it does want, what it doesn't want, how it's going to break or whether it's going to bend. You started to connect and learn about the tree like it's a human. Like you learn its characteristics and you learn all about it. But you still don't have a basket. You carry your birch bark right out from the woods and you still don't have a basket. You bring it home, you lay down the pattern and you cut it out. And while cutting it, you learn that it likes certain things or it's going to break in a certain way. And all while learning that you're establishing a relationship, a connection. But you still don't have a basket. Now you sew up your basket and you draw on it and you etch on it and you make it all beautiful. And now you have a basket. But you don't just go home and throw it on the counter. Now you go and find the high shelf where you put all your little beloved people things. And you talk about how beautiful this basket is. You talk to people that come over and they're like, oh, what a beautiful basket you have. And you're so excited because you have this connection. And now you get to tell them about your relationship with this basket. Now the value of that goes from, oh, it was just $1 to, oh, I found my connection. So again, I want to say Chi-miigwech. You came to learn about how to build a porcupine quill kit. And I got to tell you and share with you a little bit about the real drive and the real reason why I make art. It's not about the art. It's about my connection. And it's about sharing my connection with everybody around me. Because to make change, we have to be the change. So come be the change with me.